Hello everyone. Well, in this video, I'm going to discuss about sending the post request using the Katalon Studio. There are various scenarios where we need to send the post request. For example, in order to create the resource on the server, post request is used. In cases where we need to post the form data or we need to upload a file, post request is used. So first, let me show you how to send the post request via Postman. Then we are going to discuss how to send the post request using the Katalon Studio. So this is the endpoint URL for the post request. When I send the post request using this endpoint URL, it is going to create a new entry in our application. So in the Postman, I will just create a new request, select the type as post and specify the URL. Now when you send the post request, there are two important things which you need to attach with the request. One is the body and second one is the header. So this is the body which I'm going to send along with the post request. And in the headers. So in the headers, we need to specify what is the format of the body which is attached with the post request because server is going to use this header to understand what is the format of the body. So for that, the header we need to use is content type and specify the format. So in our case, the body format is in JSON. That's why I will use application/JSON. The next header which you need to specify is the accept. This is an optional header. This header will only tell to the server that the caller is expecting the data in a specific format. So in our case, I want to receive the data in the XML format. So I will specify the value as application/XML. The first header will be used for identifying the format of the body, and the second header is used to tell the server in which format caller want to receive the response. So let me send the request. So you can see here the status code which we are getting is 200 OK, and the response format is in XML format, and that is because of the accept header. Let me change it to JSON. So now if you look at the response, we are getting in the JSON format. Now let me send the get request to this endpoint. This will list all the entries which is present in the application. So in the get request also I can use the accept header. So these are the entries which are present inside the application. So let us open the Katalon Studio. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a folder under the object repository. And the folder name is post request. Inside this directory, I will create the web service request. From the drop down, I will select the method type as post, and here I will specify the endpoint URL. So as we know that along with the post request, we need to specify the header and the body. So just go to the HTTP header tab, add, specify the content type, and the accept header. We need to specify the body. Our body is in JSON format, so I will select this radio button and provide this body here. Save this and send the request. So as you can see here, we are getting the status code as 200 OK and the response in the JSON format. Let me add some assertion on this request. So I will go to the verification tab. The first assertion I'm going to add is on the status code. and then I'm going to select the option that is test request and verify. So the verification log, it is passed. So as you can see here, we are getting the response in JSON format. In order to add the assertion on the content of the JSON, I'm going to use the concept of JSON path. JSON path is a query language similar to the XPath, which is used for XML. So before I start with the concept of the JSON path, let us understand some of the terminology. In the JSON path query language, dollar represent the root object. So in our case, the dollar is going to point to this JSON object. If you want to refer the property, just use the dot operator followed by the property name. So in our case, in this object, if I want to locate the property that is brand name, I will use dot brand name. Similarly, if I want to locate this property that is feature, so it will be dot features dot feature. And if you are dealing with the JSON array, then in that case you need to use open and close square bracket with the index. So in the same response, if I want to assert the second entry inside this JSON array list, I will use the JSON path as dot features dot feature index of 1. There are some online tools available using which you can verify your JSON path. So one of the online tool is this. So I will use dollar dot brand name. So you can see I'm getting the value as Alienware. Let me try to use dot brand name. You can see I'm getting the value as Alienware. So dollar dot features dot feature of, so the value is second entry in the JSON array list. So let me add the assertion on the content using the JSON path. In our case, this is the response which we are getting. That's why Katalon Studio automatically remove the dollar sign. So if I evaluate this also here, as well as this, the output is same. Let me save this and do a test run. Status code is 200 and verification log says it is passed. Now let us create a test which is going to use this request. So under the test case, I'm going to add a directory called verify post request. Inside this, I'm going to add a test. I will add the web service keyword and I will select the option that is send request and verify. And from the test object, I will select the post request web service object. Save this and run this. So as you can see here, our test is passing. So the next thing which we are going to discuss is sending the post request but in a script mode. So here I will add one more test case. In this case also the step will remain same. First we create the request object, we will attach the header, body, and then send that request, receive the response, and do the verification. So let me create the request object. Then I'm going to create the headers. So in the request object class, you can see here we can specify the header in the form of test object property. So I will create two test object property. One will be for the content type and second will be for the accept. And also let me import the package for test object property. After that, I'm going to attach both this header with the request. So inside the request object class, there is a property that is HTTP header properties. And for this, there is a method that is set HTTP properties, using which I can attach the header with the request. And the parameter to this method is a list. So here I will use the utility method that is arrays dot as list to convert both this parameter in a list. After that, we need to configure the endpoint URL. So request object dot set. So the property which I'm going to use is REST URL, and there is a setter method for this. And the endpoint URL is this one. After that, we need to configure the method type. So request object dot set a REST request method, and the method is post. After that, we need to attach the body. So I will use the same body, and for that I will create a separate variable here. Now in order to attach the body, the method which I'm going to use is body content. So for this there is a method that is set body content. So I'm going to use this method. First, let me import the package for this. So if you look at the HTTP body content, it's an interface, and these are the classes which implement this interface. So in our case, the body type is text, so I'm going to use this implementing class for this interface. Let me import the package for HTTP text body content also. New HTTP text body content, and you can pass the string body directly here, and then attach this content with the request. After this, I'm going to send the request. Web service dot send request, and the parameter to this method call is the request object. The return type of this method is response object. So def response object, and after that I will add the assertion on the status code. So assertions dot assert that response object dot get status code is equal to 200. In a similar manner, I will add the assertion on the response content. So in order to verify the response content, I'm going to use the same assertion what we have inside our post request, that is verify element property value. So web service dot verify element property value response object. So locator. So this locator will be our JSON path. So first I need to verify the ID. So ID, and the ID should be 10. And after that I will verify the other content. So features dot feature index at 1 should be this one. Let me switch back to the manual mode. So as you can see here, it has automatically generated this step in the manual mode. Now let me run this test. So we are getting the error, and the error says that there is a casting problem. Okay, so we have used the wrong interface. It should be HTTP body content instead of HTTP body type. So let me rerun this again. So now as you can see here, our test is passing. So as you can see here in our request, we have hard-coded the request body. There is another approach of specifying the request body, that is from the file. So let me create a copy of this web service request object. So in this web service test object, the request body will be passed from a file. So this is the file which contained the request body. So in the HTTP body, select the file and specify the location of the file which contained the request body. Save this. And in our test case, that is test post request, I'm going to add one more web service keyword. Specify the new web service test object which is going to attach the body from the file. Save it and run it. Now in the script mode, if you want to use the file to specify the request body, you can use the another class, that is HTTP file body content. So here I'm going to change the code little bit. HTTP body content. So now we have imported the package for HTTP file body content. So the code here will be HTTP body content equal to new HTTP file body content, and here we need to specify the location of the file. Also we need to update the assertion and run the script. So our test is passing. So in this manner you can send the post request using the Katalon Studio.